if you're like me, you've poured over hours and hours of reselling videos, and now you're ready to go and purchase inventory for your new reselling business. I'm Becca. I am a part-time reseller on Poshmark, eBay, and Mercari, so I go and purchase items primarily at thrift stores to resell on those platforms for a profit. I've been reselling for about a year now, and I've learned a lot of things along the way, but my biggest regret is that first initial shopping trip. But if I could go back and do things differently, I would have listened to the advice I'm about to give you. Use your own closet to learn the platform. Go through your own closet, pick out items that you don't wear anymore, and list those first. Poshmark's pretty user-friendly, so you literally go through and you just follow exactly what it tells you to do. You take your picture, and then you put in a title, you put in a description, and then you fill in all of the categories that are applicable. What kind of item it is it women's, what size it is, do you have one of them? Is it a new with tags item? Is it used? What the original price was? What the listing price was? And then there's some special things that you can do as well. What you're probably gonna find is the brands that you think are gonna sell for a decent amount are not gonna sell for a decent amount. You have to really spend the time pulling comps and going through the items. I think reselling is a great side business to start because there's really not a whole lot of out-of-pocket costs. Items on Poshmark ship priority mail, so all of your shipping supplies you can actually get through the post office for free. And you don't have to package your items super fancy, especially as you're just getting started. After you've spent time making your first sales, I think you may find too that some items from your closet that you're willing to part with are not going to do as well as maybe you think in your head that they'll do. Now, I'm just speaking from personal experience. I will say that when I went and purchased items the very first time, I spent about $50, and I probably have redonated about half of those items because what I thought was gonna sell just didn't. Or I missed quality issues, holes, or wear that I didn't necessarily realize. After you've spent that couple of weeks to a month listing items from your closet, only use the money that you've made from those items to purchase inventory. I think it's really important to keep that in mind so you don't grow too fast. It's so easy, and I'm speaking from personal experience, to go to the thrift store and purchase some items. And before you know it, you've spent several $100s on items that may not actually sell. Next, make sure you're tracking your sales. I use a spreadsheet and I list what the item was, how much I purchased it for, where it is in my inventory system, what date I listed it on, what date it sold on, what platform it sold on, how much it sold for, how much the fees were, how much my take home was after the fees, and then how much my take home was after cost of goods sold. So I detail all of that out so I know how much money I actually profited. And then only use the amount of the cost of goods sold to repurchase inventory. That way you keep your profit for yourself and you're only spending that same amount of money on your initial inventory. So let's say something sells for $25 and your cost of goods was $5 on that item. Then only take that $5 to purchase new inventory. So you keep yourself accountable to that initial amount that you spent, but that will help you and not end up with a whole bunch of inventory that ends up in a death pile of stuff that you might not be passionate about listing. My last tip before you go and source for your initial inventory for your reselling business is to not have a death pile. So if you go and you buy it, then make sure you list all those items. Don't let it just sit there and then continue to go source and source for more items. You'll amass a large death pile because if it's not listed, you can't sell it. I hope you found this information helpful. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up button. It really does help my channel. If you ever have any questions, make sure you just leave a comment below and I'll respond to you. If you like this video and want to see more like it, consider hitting the subscribe button. That's all I have for you today, guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.